A woman walks down an empty street, carrying dual machine guns. She is the incarnation of the Zodiac boar, trained since childhood by her father to be a killing machine. Her father locked his young daughter in with a group of mercenaries. If she couldn't kill them all, she nimbly dodged between abandoned factories, evading dense barrages of gunfire, taking lives one after another. A father harsh to the point of abuse, yet doting to the point of perversion. A younger sister, bloodthirsty, yet naive. This was the family Zodiac boar lived in. She worked hard to meet her parents' expectations. But everything came to an abrupt halt after her father won the previous Juni Taisan. The participant her father chose for the Taizen 12 years later wasn't her, but her younger sister. Intense resentment filled her heart. She smashed nearly everything in her room. Then, a terrifying thought emerged. She would personally destroy her sister. In the subsequent training, posing as a caring older sister, she tied up hostages for her sister to execute personally. She seduced her sister's crush. Then, in later training, she deliberately made her sister execute prisoners in extreme ways. As expected, her sister lost control and stabbed all her classmates to death. The sister was filled with remorse, but Boar merely hugged her, comforting her. It's okay. You'll kill many more people and become stronger. But that wasn't enough. Finally, under her manipulation, the sister became a bloodthirsty demon, slaughtering all the maids in their mansion one night. The sister was locked up, her desire for slaughter unsatisfied. The older sister constantly whispered words of killing in her ear. The sister took the knife handed to her by Boar and plunged it into her own throat. Boar got the spot in the Taizen, as she wished. Boar, wielding dual machine guns, elegantly ascended the 150 floors to the venue. The other 11 participants had already arrived. She scanned the room. There were familiar faces and new ones, and the competition hadn't even started. Yet Rabbit had already killed Snake. Once everyone was present, the referee Dudakop announced the commencement of the 12th Juni Taizen. In the center of the table lay 12 jewels. Each participant had to take one and swallow it. Only after everyone had swallowed did the referee reveal that the jewels contained poisonous crystals that would react with stomach acid, producing a lethal poison within 12 hours. The rules of the Taizan were simple. The first person to collect all 12 jewels would be the winner. The organizers would grant their any wish. The time limit was only 12 hours. After 12 hours, win or lose, death was certain. The jewels were incredibly hard. Nothing could crush or dissolve them, except the stomach acid of a living person. With the rules announced, the referee departed. The brutal competition officially began. This was a cruel massacre, held every 12 years. The organizers requisitioned a city of 500,000 people as the arena. 12 warriors, bearing the names of the Chinese zodiac, would fight to the death. Only one could survive. The prize for victory. Any single wish granted. It was a life-or-death battle, but some hoped for a peaceful resolution. Monkey stepped forward first, proposing a win-win plan. Boar despised Monkey, assuming she'd suggest a fake fight where everyone gave her the jewels, and she'd wish for everyone's resurrection. Boar scoffed inwardly, thinking no one would waste their only wish like that. But Rat, who had been dozing off, raised his hand in agreement. Monkey's plan wasn't what Boar imagined. It was safer and more reliable. Encouraged by him, Ox, Rooster, and Horse also raised their hands. However, upon seeing the clearly unhinged Rabbit also raise his hand, the three silently retracted theirs. Now, only two supported Monkey's plan. Just as they were about to discuss the details, the floor suddenly collapsed, sending everyone plummeting down. Being elite warriors chosen from millions, they quickly hid after falling. Boar encountered Rabbit. Facing such an opponent, she already had a winning strategy in mind. Strike first with her dual guns, create distance, lure him in during the reload, then unleash infinite shots at the charging Rabbit, and finally, easily retrieve the jewel from the pile of flesh. However, as the battle commenced, a pair of hands suddenly grabbed her from behind. Rabbit's blades plunged into her chest. An accomplice. Boar looked back in horror to find Rabbit's ally was Snake, whom he had supposedly killed at the start. She then understood. Rabbit's ability was necromancy, creating corpse puppets. After killing Boar, Rabbit retrieved the first jewel from her body and turned her into another puppet under his control. The other participants escaped the building in various ways. Monkey and Rat, forming a peace alliance, hid in the sewers. Although averse to conflict, Monkey's combat prowess was undeniable. She was the one who had actually bombed the building. When the peace proposal seemed viable, she sensed clear killing intent from someone. To protect everyone present, she destroyed the floor to forcibly end the discussion. Rat, looking lazy and like a mere high schooler, was also not an easy opponent. Monkey, her plan exposed, didn't try to hide it. She didn't deny her strength, admitting that besides destroying the floor, there might have been an optimal solution. Identify the source of the killing intent, and eliminate them easily. But that wasn't her style. Great power has its proper use. Most participants chose to hide initially. The battle usually had no restricted area. The previous winner, Boar's father, had specifically chosen a densely populated city to turn the situation to his advantage. However, this time, everyone had swallowed poison. With a clear time limit, no one would choose to stray too far from the city. Everyone cautiously sought their opponents. Only Dog was an exception. He hid in a parking garage via ventilation ducts. The rule was to swallow poison jewels and then fight for them. With the 12-hour poison time bomb, no one dared to wait passively. But he decided to go against the grain. As a dog, his abilities weren't just about biting. He could synthesize toxins within his body and transmit them through bites. Upon receiving the jewel, he knew it was poison and had already synthesized the antidote. He was the only one not bound by time. He planned to let the others fight it out and reap the benefits later. However, even the best-laid plans can go awry. Shortly after Dog reached the garage, Rooster found him. Facing the highly vigilant Dog, who would attack on sight, Rooster appeared harmless and timid, even proactively lowering her weapon, hoping to team up. Dog was cautious, weighing the pros and cons. Rooster looked weak, non-combative, and there was a risk of betrayal. But fighting here and getting injured wasn't wise either. He decided to feign agreement and eliminate her opportunistically before encountering other participants. But then, Rooster delivered fatal news. Rabbit was a necromancer and had already killed Boar and Snake. Forming a 3-person team, Rooster possessed the clairvoyant ability eyes of the cormorant, allowing her to telepathically communicate with birds and share their vision, which was how she found Dog. Dog thought Rooster was a naive fool for revealing her special ability to a stranger. However, this shifted Dog's primary target from Rooster to Rabbit. The necromancer was a far greater threat. Dog decided to cooperate with Rooster to eliminate Rabbit first. Rooster, though scantily clad and seemingly a ditzy chatterbox, insisted on exchanging information since they were teammates. Dog knew about Ox, Dragon, Snake, Monkey, and Boar. The biggest threat was Ox. Simply put, ridiculously strong, a killing machine on the battlefield. Dragon and Snake were twins, known as the Annihilation Brothers. While formidable together, with Snake dead, Dragon wasn't much of a threat. Monkey was a pacifist, whose profession was ending wars. She had stopped many conflicts. Dog didn't deny her ability. She might even stop this Juni Tizan. As for Boar, nothing more to say. She was dead. Dog wasn't familiar with his other opponents, but had a strong impression of the drowsy Rat. Not because Rat was powerful. He didn't even seem like a warrior. But Dog felt he'd seen him somewhere before. Hearing this, Rooster had the same feeling. Just then, Sparrows reported that Rabbit's group had split up. Boar's corpse wandered the streets alone. Dog and Rooster observed Boar's movements from hiding. Rabbit and Snake's whereabouts were unknown. Boar was likely bait. Attacking her would invite an ambush. Dog bit Rooster's arm, injecting a drug to enhance her physical and mental abilities to their peak. He planned for the enhanced Rooster to deal with the Boar while he ambushed the hidden Rabbit from the underground garage, but he never expected the Rooster beside him was no ditzy fool. The powerful drug coursed through Rooster's body. As Dog started to reassure her to control the power, Rooster reached out and crushed his head. Ox and Horse met in the subway tunnels. Horse shyly tried to greet Ox, but Ox charged at him, sword drawn. Meanwhile, more and more birds gathered around Boar's corpse. Who would be the final winner of this war? This girl, holding a strange tool, tortured her parents to death. Their bodies were mutilated beyond recognition. Rot, stench, and blood filled her earliest memories. Police entering the scene was shocked by the gruesome sight. The injured girl was taken to the hospital for various examinations. Due to inhuman abuse from her parents since childhood, her previous memories were completely lost. Psychological trauma sealed her mind. Because of her ability to communicate with birds, she was adopted by the Niwatri family and trained in assassination and espionage. Wars around the world were influenced by the Niwatri family. As their adopted daughter, she naturally followed orders, sent to various battlefields, using inconspicuous birds to drop grenades. For her, without a past, purpose, or beliefs, everything was meaningless. She just desperately carried out orders, killing endlessly, acting as a double agent, constantly betraying and deceiving. Having betrayed so many times, she could no longer distinguish between enemies and friends. Rooster easily crushed Dog's head and retrieved the jewel from his body. It turned out her ditzy act was to obtain Dog's enhancing drug. Empowered by it, she easily crushed iron bars and slowly went hunting for other participants. Under Rooster's command, a large flock of birds swarmed Boar, pecking the corpse until nothing but bones remained. Meanwhile, The fight between ox and horse continued. Ox's blade was incredibly sharp, slicing through a pillar with one stroke. Against horse's absolute defense, who would emerge victorious? Rooster went to a convenience store for food and encountered Rat, also foraging. Compared to Rooster's vigilance, Rat showed no intention of attacking. He was just looking for food. Remembering Rooster had raised her hand for Monkey's peace proposal, Rat considered her an ally and took her to the sewers to meet Monkey. In reality, Rooster had intended to feign agreement and betray them later. Rat and Monkey were completely unguarded around her. But Rooster hesitated, wondering whether to kill them. Facing Monkey's sincere gaze, Rooster began to doubt. Was Monkey's peace pact genuine? Not just a lie to form a team. Monkey was planning to rendezvous with the other members who had agreed. She exposed her back defenselessly to Rooster, but Rooster didn't strike. Instead, she shared the intel from above ground with Monkey. Learning that Boar and Dog were dead, Monkey lamented their fate. Rooster felt Monkey was overly kind. As Monkey turned to eat, Rooster aimed her weapon at his back, but ultimately gave up. She neither killed Monkey nor joined him, simply leaving the sewer. Afterwards, Rooster felt foolish. Did the drug enhance her humanity, blinding her to superficial righteousness? Misfortune struck again. While Rooster was regretting her actions, she encountered the blood-soaked Ox. Although Ox had also agreed to Monkey's peace pact, with everyone scattered, peace was impossible. Faced with Ox's relentless advance, Rooster considered retreating. Confronting the genius of Slaughter-Hedon was unwise. She should retreat, regroup, or perhaps suck up to Ox and backstab him later. Rooster had always been a selfish opportunist. However, when Ox deduced from their conversation that Monkey might be nearby, Rooster subconsciously aimed her weapon at Ox. Even she found it incredible that someone like her would endanger herself to protect another. Her mind screamed at her to drop the weapon and flee, but her body stood firm before Ox. Perhaps it was the drug, or perhaps her conscience was awakened by Monkey. Ultimately, Rooster was blinded and killed by Ox with a single stab through the brain. Before dying, she commanded the circling birds to devour her body. A young girl splits a hard rock in half with a single palm strike. She can easily turn anything in the world into dust. Monkey's masters were 3 sages, possessing power over all things. Having learned all their skills, Monkey descended the mountain, determined to eliminate meaningless slaughter from the world, dedicating herself to the cause. But the world is harsh. As long as sincerity exists, war will not disappear. Monkey insisted on trying. Shortly after partying with Rooster, the drowsy Rat sensed that Rooster might be dead. Asked why, he could only say he could see people's death signs. And if Rooster was indeed dead, Monkey was largely to blame. Rooster wasn't a master. Though timid and cautious, she was still a warrior. But in her conversation with Monkey, she grew weaker. Monkey's seemingly harmless goodwill became a lethal poison to Rooster. Monkey didn't understand what Rat was saying, thinking he was provoking her. Rat changed the subject. If Rooster was dead, only 8 participants remained. Was Monkey's winning strategy still viable? Monkey stated she had considered more than one winning method. She wasn't optimistic enough to rely on a single plan to stop the Juni Taisen. But she didn't understand Rat. He never intended to stop the war. Nor did he claim he wouldn't be swayed. Why did he agree to her peace pact? Rat said he could tolerate peace, but not harmony. Before the battlefield, he was a high school student, surrounded by useless trash, accustomed to peaceful lives. He was unwilling to risk his life to protect their peace, so he couldn't understand Monkey's actions. No one in the world saves as many people as Monkey does. The saved become useless, taking it for granted that war and killing are others' jobs. It only made Monkey want to kill the more she protected. He asked Monkey, the pacifist, how she found balance. Before Monkey could answer, Rat finished eating and fell asleep again. It was an incredibly sensitive topic. Monkey herself didn't want to know the answer. Before the Juni Taisen, she had successfully mediated 300 wars and 200 civil conflicts, a true war mediator. This time, she was mediating between 2 nations fighting for 70 years over a border territory. This protracted war wasn't for the people anymore, but for national pride. Representatives argued endlessly, neither willing to stop the war or cede the land. Just then, both received news from home. Frontline soldiers had rebelled, formed an armed force, and demanded a ceasefire from the government. This was all Monkey's plan. These soldiers were descendants of that land. If the nations wouldn't stop fighting, these people would abandon the war for independence. The long war had exhausted both nations. Weakening them further and turning public opinion towards the rebels could make a ceasefire possible. What she could do was limited, but she would try her best. You never know the outcome without trying. To resolve the conflict, she directly collaborated with frontline commanders to incite rebellion. Because of the nation's so-called pride, They ignored reality. How many frontline soldiers had sacrificed? How many were injured? These issues far exceeded what the nations could bear. If they insisted on fighting, she would get more people to join the rebels. Finally, through Monkey's efforts, the two nations declared a ceasefire. The land, ravaged by war for over 70 years, finally saw peace. However, the peace was short-lived. Due to the regional conflict, Allied forces intervened militarily and suppressed the rebellion. Her mediation was useless. Such things were common, so she never found a balance point. She would struggle with this for life. Rat was blunt. Her painstaking peace proposals, negotiation skills. But force could end the battle instantly. As a result, it seemed faster and saved more people. Why did she go to such lengths to protect the warriors? The only ones who understood its significance were the warriors themselves. Almost no one knew about the Junitaizon. Even those who did just wanted it over quickly. All men are created equal. Human nature is inherently good. Just platitudes from those who can't see reality. Precisely because she saw so much reality, she spoke platitudes, choosing the power of words to stop war. Though she suffered misfortune many times, she still hoped for harmony, wished happiness for all. Monkey had her own family, a loving partner, yet she still traveled to end wars. Suddenly, she heard a strange noise nearby. She urgently kicked Rat awake. Instantly, swarms of bird corpses flew towards them. They hastily left the sewer for the surface. But the moment Monkey opened the manhole cover, a machete swung down at her head. If not for her quick reaction, Snake's headless corpse swung the machete at Monkey. Monkey dodged nimbly and disarmed it. Rabbit, long ambushing nearby, emerged. A major battle seemed inevitable. This Tizen exists for war itself. It shrinks large-scale warfare into a 12-person battle every 12 years. This proxy war determines the world's fate. The 12 warriors are chips on the gambling tables of various nations. Representatives rewrite maps and allocate resources by betting on the winner. Currently, 4 of the 12 are dead. Leading is Ox, with 3 jewels. Second are Rabbit and Dragon, with 2 jewels each. The remaining Rat, Horse, and Sheep each have only their own jewel. Representatives around the table debated. Most felt Ox had the highest chance of winning. The most likely survivors were Ox, Rabbit, and Monkey. Speaking of game changers, someone mentioned Sheep. The old man was the winner of the 9th Junitaizon. The only veteran participant this time, though his victory then was an upset and he was past his prime. His presence couldn't be ignored. The show began. Who would be the final victor? Old Man Sheep hid in a toy store, planning his strategy. Ox, Rabbit, and Monkey were top tier, undoubtedly. First, avoid direct confrontation. Or, find a way to make them kill each other. Then profit. He had won before, but that was long ago. In this Tessen's ranking, he was definitely near the bottom. Youth is a powerful asset. In his youth, he was an arms dealer, traveling the world, selling weapons, participating in wars, traversing battlefields littered with corpses. He became famous for his combat prowess. Eventually, he was scouted by the Hitsuji family through a business partner, married into the family, and represented Sheep in the 9th Junitaizon. He eliminated enemies using explosives and became the champion. As the winner, he wished to see his granddaughter. He thought he'd die on the battlefield, but spent his later years living normally with her. He had enjoyed family life, no regrets. To prevent his granddaughter from bearing the burden, he participated in the 12th Junitaizon in her stead. The key to victory was using his vast experience and wisdom to close the gap with the frontrunners. Sheep took out the jewel he was supposed to swallow. He sensed something wrong when told to swallow it, so he faked the motion and hid the poisonous jewel in his beard. He decided to play mind games. Under the psychological pressure of poison death, even the strongest warrior's mind would falter. He could exploit this. While Sheep strategized, Ox approached his location. Ox shattered the door with a few slashes. The room was empty. A bomb detonated, instantly destroying the building. Sheep had escaped long before Ox found him. The injured horse emerged from underground. When he encountered Ox earlier, his high defense barely withstood Ox's terrifying assault. Knowing he couldn't win, he fled when Ox blasted through a wall. Meanwhile, Monkey and Rabbit's groups were still facing off. Rat lured the headless snake away, leaving Monkey to fight Rabbit. Monkey was skilled, but had no killing intent, still hoping Rabbit would join his peace alliance. Sheep found a secluded lab to continue his plan. His ability was tunneling through any object. Offering to remove jewels from others wouldn't arouse suspicion. Of course, he knew others wouldn't easily let him get the jewels, but they'd keep it as a last resort. This way, he could form an advantageous group. After consideration, Sheep chose Horse as his long-term teammate. When the time was right, he'd use his handmade grenades to eliminate the toughest opponent. Ox, His original plan was to bomb everyone at the start, but the floor collapse foiled it. 3 hours had passed. It was time to act. Snake chased Rat into a building. Despite being headless, it pursued relentlessly. Rat quickly realized it relied on heat sensing, not sight. Any movement invited fire attacks, forcing Rat to keep fleeing. Sheep assumed Rat and Tiger were weaker than him, not even worth dealing with. Just as he thought this, he met the one ranked last in his mind, Tiger. She was hugging wine bottles, passed out drunk on a bench, seemingly harmless. As Sheep took out a bomb to finish her, Tiger suddenly spoke. She had already detected Sheep. His ambush exposed, Sheep calmly emerged. He scorned this petite, seemingly dim-witted girl, especially since she was drunk enough to see double. Muttering nonsense about never getting drunk. Even when she struck a threatening pose, Sheep only felt annoyed. He gripped the bomb, deciding on a swift end. Only when Tiger declared her title, Drunken Fist Slayer, did he sense something wrong. But it was too late. She extended her claws, moving like the wind, instantly killing him. Tiger sat by Sheep's corpse, laughing. She used Drunken Fist. The more she drank, the stronger she became. A year of meticulous planning ended abruptly at the hands of the one deemed weakest. Ox, unharmed by the bomb trap, immediately deduced the unseen attacker was Sheep. He followed the tracks, but they were fake, ending midway. Rat was still fleeing Snake's pursuit. Monkey fought off zombie birds while dealing with Rabbit. Arranging Snake to lure Rat away, it seemed everyone was Rabbit's pawn. Rabbit's strikes aimed precisely at the stomach. Others' bodies were mere jewel containers in his eyes. Unfortunately, his skills were far inferior to Monkey's. Kicked away, his dual blades lost. Rabbit picked them up and fled. Monkey naturally pursued. During the fight, Monkey noted that for a necromancer, Rabbit's swordsmanship and body control were not his forte. Such a person could be easily subdued from behind. As Monkey leaped behind Rabbit, Rabbit suddenly twisted his wrist, plunging both blades into Monkey's chest. Monkey never expected such a move. Only then did he notice Snake's head placed on a nearby tree. Monkey fell, dead. Half the participants were now eliminated. Leaders watching the live broadcast placed their bets. The organizers re-ranked the remaining 6: Ox, Rabbit, Tiger, Horse, Dragon, Rat. Most bet on the top contenders. Fear of death kept Horse from facing others. Hiding meant dying from poison eventually. Before the Tizen, Horse was a decent special forces soldier. After failing a mission against heavily armed foes, he underwent radical physical modification, drugs, muscle training, hellish regimens, creating an impenetrable defense. But modification only affected the exterior. His mind remained weak. He hoped his modified cells could withstand the poison, lacking the courage to face failure. Just then, he heard another voice. Panicked, he looked up to find Rat in a corner, playing a game, calmly discussing the vault's material with him. Rat told him not to worry. He was just hiding from Snake. The vault was sealed. Horse had no idea how Rat got in. Remembering, Horse agreed to the peace pact. Rat informed him of Monkey's death. With the peace advocate dead, the proposal vanished. Only killing remained. Rat still didn't grasp the significance of peace. Fighting and negotiating seemed like heroes' duties. If everyone defended like Horse, wouldn't the world stop? Youth and recklessness drive progress. A stagnant society is no different from a destroyed one. Living only defensively, Horse was no different from being dead. This speech further confused the already panicked Horse. The headless Snake was nearby tracking him. Horse ignored the warning, continuing to cower. Nowhere felt safer than here. He feared failure more than death. But Rat's words disturbed him. A suffocating feeling grew. It became hotter. Smoke filled the air. Horse realized it wasn't just a feeling. Fire was consuming oxygen. Snake, unable to find Rat, set the building ablaze. Horse suffocated, dying in the safest place. Rabbit ripped open Monkey's stomach, pulling out a jewel. Monkey's corpse became another puppet. Only 5 remained. Rat, Ox, Tiger, Rabbit, Dragon. The newly deceased Snake and Dragon were twins, known as the Annihilation Brothers. Snake could sense the earth, easily infiltrating targets. Dragon's older brother had flight ability, often rescuing his brother before discovery. Getting rich was their life goal. Sometime, theft became a competition between them. The Tatsumi family's dragon and snake warriors were always twins. This generation was the most coordinated pair, chosen to represent dragon and snake in the next Juni Taisen, fated to kill each other. This was cruel for the close-knit brothers. Rabbit, disguised as staff, was already there, envying their bond, wanting to be friends immediately. Though Rabbit seemed crazy, the brothers drew weapons. The earth-sensing brother detected Monkey's underground movements. As he turned to warn Dragon, Rabbit decapitated him. Dragon retreated defensively. As their fight loomed, Ox entered. Snake became the reckless fool, he mentioned. Monkey's puppet burst into the burning building, kicked open the basement, and dragged the suffocated horse to Rabbit. Tiger, who killed sheep, encountered the headless snake on the street. The flamethrower shot fire at Tiger. Not one to be trifled with, Tiger lunged, instantly severing Snake's right arm, grabbing the flamethrower, and gulping down the alcohol inside. Headless Snake was stunned, making a one-handed snake fist gesture. Tiger grew excited, ready for a real fight, but Snake made no further moves. Disappointed, Tiger realized it was just a corpse. She left, carrying the alcohol tank. Ox arrived, cutting off Snake's other arm. Seeing Snake still writhing, trying to stand, Ox prepared to cut off its legs too. But Tiger heard the noise, turned, saw Ox. Her expression changed drastically. She lunged aggressively, staring intently at Ox. As Ox decided to deal with Snake later and face Tiger, something strange happened. Snake's severed arms leaped up, strangling Ox and Tiger. Rabbit's necromancy was advanced enough for individual limbs to act. The arm's grip was unnaturally strong, nearly suffocating them. Ox, holding his sword, hesitated. Tiger started spitting alcohol. Ox had an idea. He proposed a temporary truce. Survive this, then a one-on-one duel. Tiger agreed. Ox threw his sword straight at Tiger. Sparks from the blade ignited the alcohol she spat. Tiger screamed as flames engulfed her upper body. Dragon, floating above, watched everything. His brother was thoroughly used. Burned horse nearly choked Ox and Tiger. Such extraordinary results Snake couldn't achieve alive. Hiding wasn't a long-term solution. He needed a plan. A year ago, they caused a major incident. A pharmaceutical company, disguised as a charity, recruited orphans for human experiments, even trafficking humans and organs. Dragon infiltrated, met two brothers inside. The younger was blind from drug side effects. After a new drug succeeded, the children were no longer needed, their side effects ignored. The company wanted to cut ties with the local mafia, but the mafia demanded huge hush money. Final transaction, tomorrow. Distrustful, both sides hired the brothers as bodyguards. The brothers also eyed the huge sum. During the transaction, conflict erupted. Both sides revealed their backup, only to find they hired the same pair. Realizing they were tricked, the brothers turned on them, turning the site into an icy, fiery hell. The leaders fled to the vault, but the brothers were waiting. They burned the factory, stole all cash, causing collateral damage to innocent civilians. Due to their inhumane massacre damaging the Zodiac family's international reputation, they were prosecuted. On trial day, the younger brother didn't attend. Dragon, representing them, dismissed the charges. Civilian casualties in war are normal, but killing employers. He killed his brother's employer. His brother killed his. It was in the contract. The judge felt they weren't simple murderers. The prosecutor argued their actions weren't benevolent, lacking warriors' justice. Accumulating wealth through crime and distributing it was mere amusement. Dragon calmly retorted. They were Zodiac family members. Once commissioned, war or crime, they obliged. Justice has many definitions. What standard defined the prosecutor's justice and evil? Ox used his sword to ignite Tiger's alcohol. After breaking free, Tiger threw her burning clothes at Ox. The charred corpse finally stopped moving. Tiger angrily confronted Ox, but their priority was dealing with Snake's remains. Simply smashing them would repeat the problem. Dragon, watching from above, saw his chance. There was a solution. Snake's primary directive was killing Rat. Dragon swooped down triumphantly. Suddenly, something was thrown up. Dragon instinctively caught it, his brother's head. As he froze, Rabbit, boosted by Monkey's corpse, leaped high with dual blades, cutting him in two. Dragon, like his brother, became Rabbit's puppet. The brothers fought side by side again, in a different form. Staring intently at the Ox, Tiger recalled her past. Her name was Kanaera, a martial artist. After winning a 100-man battle at the Tora Ryer dojo, she was nominated as the next head candidate. Her master asked her definition of the way of the warrior. Diligent training, honing skills to perfection, using the way correctly. Master was pleased, sending her to war. But her beliefs crumbled, witnessing wars, brutality, ruins, corpses. Did humans need to kill like this? After killing all enemies barehanded, she received medals for excellence, but felt no joy. Frustrated, she drank herself into oblivion at bars. The world seemed full of hypocrisy. Justice was just a slogan. Even fighting for peace achieved little, sending her only escalated conflict. The bartender gave her water. Clear water breeds no fish. People who see too clearly cannot survive. She found drinking a good escape. Drunk, she thought of nothing. Crawling was faster than walking. Amidst endless war, she gradually shed humanity, becoming a killing maniac. Only alcohol and blood let her forget reality's pain. Drunk and crazy daily, she ironically received more praise and achievements. Thinking of nothing boosted efficiency. She lost her way, becoming a mere beast. Her disappointed master expelled her. She didn't care, just endless drinking and killing. No thought. Forgetting everything. Purely following instinct. Obeying orders. She began to wonder if she was alive or dead. Crisis averted. Tiger angrily argued with Ox again. By agreement, they should duel now. But both sensed another presence. Rabbit, hiding nearby. The three-way showdown began. Under Ox and Tiger's combined assault, Rabbit was quickly dismembered. Obstacle cleared. Their final battle should begin. Tiger targeted Ox because they'd met before. Shortly before the Tizen, drunk again, she stumbled onto a battlefield, surrounded by enemies. Annoyed, unwilling to engage. Just as the enemy moved, a figure flashed past her, swiftly eliminating everyone. He gently knelt before Tiger, mistaking her for a captured civilian girl. Seeing her drunk, he assumed enemies forced alcohol on her. Comforting her, he offered to take her to safety. Tiger didn't deny it, just asked Ox how to stay correct like him. Ox replied he didn't think about it. If you intend to do right, just do it. That's all. Tiger was conflicted. Her pain came precisely from not being able to do right. That pain, deliberately forgotten, hadn't dissolved in alcohol, but tormented her still. Correct things, if not intended, cannot be done. Humans are inexplicably, naturally falling into evil. By the time they realize, they're already on the wrong path. Conversely, no one does right unknowingly. Correct actions require correct consciousness. If she struggled because she couldn't do right, it was because she didn't want to do right. Humans have countless reasons for hesitation. Shifting blame, cursing the era, lamenting fate. But they should face facts. Those who don't do right aren't unable, but unwilling. So, she needn't agonize over deliberately trying to be correct. Ox's appearance gave her life purpose for the first time. Unlike her previous aimless self, she decided to start over, re-examine herself, hoping for his recognition upon meeting again. She quickly researched Ox, learned he was also a Zodiac warrior. Soon, chatting with family, friends, she heard the 12 War was starting. The thought of Ox participating made her run to her estranged master, begging on her knees for a spot. Seeing Ox at the Taizen venue filled her with joy, but he had forgotten her. Mixed emotions fueled her insistence on dueling Ox, simply wanting his recognition. As they faced off, Rabbit's severed hands, holding knives, stabbed at the unguarded Ox from behind. Tiger, shocked, pushed Ox away, taking the blades in her abdomen. Her duel request to her admired master ended like this. Yet, Tiger felt no regret. She finally did what she believed was right. Rabbit's body parts crawled towards Tiger, cut to pieces by Ox. Even the head split. Useless. Scattered parts kept writhing, trying to reform. Necromancers were truly disgusting. Ox carried Tiger, destroyed the path, and fled quickly. Saved for the first time. Ox desperately tried to save Tiger. But for her, Ox saved her first. This was just repaying kindness. Ox finally understood why Rabbit appeared, knowing he couldn't win. Rabbit had bitten his tongue off before they killed him. Killed by himself, he could become a freely moving zombie. Rabbit's madness was terrifying. After some distance, Ox put Tiger down, intending to stop the bleeding. The genius, never so badly injured, fumbled. Tiger didn't want Ox wasting time. Rabbit would catch up soon. She wouldn't last long. Even if miraculously saved, her body couldn't endure more fighting. Her final request, cancel the duel and have Ox kill her personally. Dying now meant dying by Rabbit's hand, becoming a zombie, post-mortem. She refused to be Ox's enemy, even in death. She was satisfied with her battles. Dying by the genius of slaughter was a fitting end. Ox agreed. Before striking, he asked one last time why she resented him, if they'd met. Tiger denied it. No resentment. First meeting. Smiling contentedly at Ox, Tiger died under his blade. Now, only Rat, Ox, Rabbit remained. Who would win? Killing Tiger herself, Ox, the cold-blooded killer, felt surprisingly sad. He didn't know why. Ultimately, ending the lives of the dying was common on battlefields. Though not a drinker, if given the chance, he'd have liked to share a drink with this great warrior. After paying respects, Ox focused on Rabbit. For warriors, death is salvation. But Rabbit choosing suicide to control his corpse. That madness was beyond normal. Ox resolved to win, even if it meant death. He recalled each battle. Every warrior excelled in their field. Meeting Tiger was his greatest advantage. Without her sacrifice, he'd be dead. Rabbit's performance was outstanding. Not reckless, novelty-seeking. Every move was calculated, doing only correct things. But why go so far? Winning grants a wish, but what's the point if you die? Would anyone trade death for a wish? What drove Rabbit? What did he intend? No time to find out. Only option: burn Rabbit's corpse completely. As Ox searched for fuel, Rabbit caught up. No longer human or corpse, but a grotesque humanoid patchwork of body parts. Rabbit attacked Ox like a beast. As Ox severed limbs, planning further dismemberment, a figure burst from Rabbit's stomach. Blood-covered monkey pinned Ox down. Rabbit, this jigsaw monster, contained other corpses. Even if Ox anticipated it, he was no match for Monkey. If Monkey wished, he could easily crush Ox's limbs. He didn't, because Rabbit was regenerating, wanting to kill Ox personally, turning him into a puppet-like monkey, as intact as possible. As a steadfast warrior, Ox refused to become a mindless puppet. Doing wrong was worse than death. Only option: bite off his tongue. But Monkey headbutted him, shattering his teeth. Suicide foiled. Utterly helpless, he tried to recall other survivors. Just then, Rat entered his vision. Ox never imagined the weakest Zodiac rat would be the last survivor. The boy with no presence seemed utterly out of place. He couldn't kill Rabbit or save Ox. Appearing now was suicide. But Rat said he barely made it. Sheep's corpse. He searched long for it. Or rather, sheep's bombs. Rabbit, before fully reforming, couldn't perform complex actions. Monkey, pinning Ox, was immobile. Perfect chance to destroy both. And Ox too. Ox felt little resentment. Even if Rat was irredeemably evil, it was better than letting Rabbit loose. Before placing the bomb, Rat asked for last words. Ox just told him to hurry. For Ox, this was the right thing. He told Rat to do what he thought was right. Rat looked deeply at Ox, activated the bomb, turned, and left. Legend says, Rat rode Ox's head to become first among Zodiac animals. Ox felt taken advantage of by Rat. But it didn't matter. Ox felt he'd seen the boy somewhere before. But before he could recall, the powerful bomb turned him and Rabbit to ash. Rat, collecting all 12 jewels, became the winner of the 12th Juni Taizan. The referee wanted a brief interview. Rat, still listless, refused. As he opened the door to leave, the elevator cable snapped, plummeting from 150 floors. Rat opened his eyes, back in the room before dying. Faced with the question, refused again. Fell down the stairs, pushed from behind. No matter how many times he redid it, refusing meant dying outside the room. Crushed by steel beams, electrocuted, shot, stabbed, pecked by birds. Rat simulated 100 scenarios for refusing. All failed. Helplessly, Rat chose cooperation. The referee asked for explanations of his actions. Before answering, Rat simulated 2 choices: cooperate and live, resist and die instantly. He cooperated. His ability: 100 paths, interfering with probability, foreseeing 100 outcomes simultaneously, choosing one as reality. Among 100 Taizan outcomes, only one led to his survival. He just chose that future. Even elite warriors choose only once. He chose 100 times. Because of the 99 other choices, he knew everyone's abilities. Knew sheep had bombs sufficient to kill Rabbit. But experiencing 100 options strained his mind, hence his constant drowsiness. The referee admired Rat's adaptability in the chaotic battle, perhaps because he always existed in 100 divergences. His reaction speed was incredible. In any hypothetical, he never knew what Monkey's peace proposal truly was. In all other options, he lost midway, never knowing who won in the other 99 divergences. The interview lasted till morning. The referee told Rat to decide his wish and notify him any time. This time his departure was uneventful. Rat's name was Sugiyoshi Sumino. Before the Taizan, just an ordinary high schooler, always sleeping in class, not popular. After winning, he agonized over what wish to make. He simulated 100 wishes. If you could have any wish, what would you choose? World domination. Endless money. Sumino posed this to others. A kind classmate wished happiness for everyone. But thinking of the perverted Rabbit also finding happiness made him feel the world should end. He felt indebted to the dead if he didn't wish carefully. He remembered Ox's dying words. Do the right thing. What is right? Sumino considered resurrecting Monkey, the one most capable of doing right. But then again, only the correct person gets resurrected. Is that right? Could Monkey accept it? What about resurrecting everyone? That repeats the cycle. Besides, Are resurrected people truly themselves? In the 99 Taizen divergences, he talked with almost everyone, learned their wishes. Old sheep wanted immortality. Emotionless rooster wanted confidence. Failure-fearing horse wanted talent. Narcissistic boar wanted a huge harem. What about his own wish? Increase foresight to 1,000 paths, but the mental burden would increase. The 99 Taizen predictions already left him with the pain and fear of being harmed 99 times, killed by rooster, shot by boar, dismembered by rabbit, ... Small divergences erase others' memories, only leaving a sense of familiarity. But for him, they become real memories. Honestly, finding one path to survival in that brutal slaughter was already an achievement. Many things in the world, even with 100 simulations, have no solution. Like participating in the Taizen, unavoidable. In middle school, he liked a girl, confessed 100 ways, all failed. Only later learned she had a boyfriend. So, no matter the method, impossible is impossible. If he experienced such failure 1,000 times, he might truly break. Fierce Dog wanted to be a kindergarten teacher. He saved an abused girl from a pervert, working only to support her. The Annihilation brothers naturally wanted money. Money makes anything possible. But deeper conversation revealed Dragon didn't trust money's value. The brother saw it merely as a tool for plunder. Perverted Rabbit wanted to befriend everyone in the world. Tiger wanted to meet Ox again, the only one whose wish came true. Sumino grew more anxious. He had no dreams or wishes. Everything just happened naturally. In one divergence, he asked Ox's dream before dying. Ox asked back, "What's your wish? Why do you fight? Why live?" Sumino didn't know. He thought of 99 wishes, each with unavoidable side effects. Finally, Sumino broke down. Just then, the referee appeared behind him, asking if he'd decided. After long deliberation, Sumino finally chose his wish, to forget everything. He had no wish he desperately needed fulfilled. He couldn't bear the torment anymore. The next day, Sumino went to school, as usual, sat down, and fell asleep. But today, his face was content, as if he'd found something truly precious.